everywhere. So thank you for your time.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. Anyone else wishing to address the public this evening? Okay. Into the consent agenda. Before we get to the consent agenda, though, I would like to take a moment and certainly to thank all of the students that are here this evening and the students that are doing work for the Humane Society and the shelter down there. I think it's tremendous, especially starting at the 8th grade level, to see that kind of commitment down there, and I know that that speaks volumes. So you're to be commended for the work that you do. Moving to the consent agenda, council's pleasure to do with the consent agenda this evening.
Mr. I request that, oh, sorry, you go ahead and read it first.
Consent agenda this evening comprised of the council minutes of November 1, the council workshop minutes of November 8th, the regular accounts payable claims in the amounts of $311,732.66, Agenda Bill 15910, a surplus resolution for properties, Agenda Bill 160-10, the leasing of Fire Station 95, Agenda Bill 16110, a professional services agreement with First Service PGP valuation, Agenda Bill 16210, Washington Department of Transportation Utility Construction Agreement for SR 14 improvements, and Agenda Bill 16310, also Washington State Department of Transportation Utility Construction Agreement for SR 14 improvements. Councilmember?
Mr. Mayor, I request that items 5, 7, and 8 be removed from the consent agenda for new business.
Okay.
That's the leasing of Fire Station 95 and the WashDOT bills.
Okay, those will become items 2, 3, and 4 under new business. Other items? Council's pleasure with the rest of the consent agenda?
I have a minor change to the minutes.
You want to go ahead and pull those in, Paul?
I think we can just edit them.
I'd say let's go ahead and pull them and
Okay.
then edit them. Which council minutes?
The November 1st.
Yep.
Under the last public comment, I believe that should read something along the line that Larry.
We're going to let you come back with the correction.
All right.
So items 1, 5, 7, and 8 have been pulled. 2, 3, 4, and 6 remain.
Mr. Mayor, I ask unanimous consent that the consent agenda of items 2, 3, 4, and 6 be approved.
There are no objections, so ordered. Mayor's report this evening. I have 3 items for you. One of them is a proclamation this evening for Walk and Knock. Whereas, beginning with the small spark of an idea by 2 men, the Walk and Knock Food Drive is now planning its 26th year and is Clark County's largest annual food drive. And whereas grocery bags are distributed throughout the county and local residents are asked to fill those bags with food and leave them on their doorsteps the day of the food drive. And whereas on the first Saturday in December, volunteers go door to door and collect the bags and return them to various staging areas throughout the county. And whereas Walk and Knock gives the collected food to members of the Clark County Food Bank Coalition, distributing 10% of the food annually distributed by the Clark County Food Bank. And whereas the 2009 Walk and Knock food drive netted 162, well, our proclamation actually reads netted 162 pounds. Let's try 162,000 pounds of food and more than $50,000 in donations, which was turned over to the food bank for future food purchases. And whereas all of this is accomplished by non-paid volunteers from nonprofit organizations such as the Lions, Kiwanis, Rotary, and Optimist Clubs, members of the Clark County Amateur Radio Club, Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts of America, and the contributions of other groups and individuals. And whereas the participation of more than 4,000 volunteers from all over the county who go walking and knocking, collecting non-perishable foods and cash donations, make the food drive the largest community-involved event in Clark County. Now, therefore, I, Sean Gard, Mayor of Washougal, do hereby proclaim Saturday, December 4th as 2010 Walk and Knock Day and encourage all citizens to join in this observation of this community-wide effort. Item number 2, and I don't have my glasses on. Is Phyllis here this evening?
I don't see her here.
I have a proclamation for Phyllis Hutchinson. For those of you in the public who are not familiar with Phyllis, she is a member of our cemetery board, a longtime member of the cemetery board and very valued member of the cemetery board, and is one who privately, through herself and family, has contributed over the last few years basically to irrigate the entire Washougal City Cemetery, which before Phyllis started her donations did not have irrigation for the summertime. And she has taken that on as a great item of public service. So I have a proclamation for Phyllis. Whereas Phyllis Hutchinson has served as a member of the Washougal Cemetery Board since 1986, and whereas Phyllis continues to serve as a member of the Washougal Cemetery Board, and whereas Phyllis has long supported community activities by volunteering her time and resources, and whereas Phyllis was the catalyst and major contributor for continued improvements to the Washougal Memorial Cemetery through her generous donations for the construction and installation of the now completed sprinkler system, and whereas these financial efforts have saved the city and its taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars through the implementation of this water conservation project. Now, therefore, I, Sean Gard, Mayor of the City of Washougal, urge our residents to recognize the valuable efforts and donations that Phyllis Hutchinson has contributed and continues to confer, and we express our sincerest appreciation and thanks to Phyllis for her continued selfless service and support to this community. And the final item I have under the mayor's report is a planning commission appointment. As you know from your last workshop, we had an opening for the planning commission. We had 2 applicants for that opening, and we had a interview committee that was made up of one of our senior planners, a member of the council, Councilman Greenlee, and one of our members of the planning commission who conducted those interviews. And they have forwarded the name of Mike Briggs for confirmation, or as a recommendation for filling that empty planning commission seat. So I put that recommendation before you this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to table this appointment to the earliest workshop.
Second?
I've got a motion and a second to table the appointment. Discussion?
The reason for my tabling, council, is there are a lot of disparaging and untrue remarks that have been floating around not only the blogosphere, but also the local media from the person who is going to, once seeking the appointment for this. I would like to have this discussion at our next workshop. Some of these comments are, I deem, disparaging towards the mayor, the council, and developers in our community. Thank you.
David?
Along these lines, the Planning Commission is a venue for clashing opinions, and therefore it must be civil. I spent a couple of years on the Planning Commission and enjoyed it very much. I have fond memories of discussions I had with Larry White. I don't think we ever agreed on anything, but we cherished the opportunity for the discussion. We always, I think, had the hope that we would somehow persuade the other to our point of view, and I don't think that happened very often.